Hello, everybody, and welcome to
Hello,
week. There's an issue here somewhere.
we you're live.
Oh, Ratan Shada ji, can you hear
Can
me?
you hear me? Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, okay, great. So we're on. There's an echo. I hope you don't
I
have it
hope
on
you
on your
don't
phone.
have it on your phone. No.
Are we good?
Are we good? My earphone, I have directly on the.
Why don't you try your Why don't you try
Why
your
don't you try
buds?
your
Maybe that's better because there's an echo right now.
right now? I tried earpod. You said you can't hear me.
No, try it once more.
Can you hear? Hello.
Yes, yes, much better. Can you hear me now? Hello. Can you hear me now, Ratan Shada ji? Okay, you need to unmute yourself, please. All right, so folks, we're back midweek this time around because it's been quite an eventful week. After something like 6 years, the RSS chief has held a series of lectures. It's called Vyakyan Malya, and it takes place every couple of years. It's a very unique event, and it's an event where invitations are extended to the larger community. That is society, and people from all areas of society are invited, from the medical field, from the armed forces, from the arts, sports. Basically, it's a gathering of civil society members, and the RSS chief provides an introduction to the or RSS, and then further on, addresses questions or any other kind of issues that people might have. So it's a 3-day event. Today was the last day. It finished, and it's going to be carried out in 3 more cities over the course of the year. Of course, this is a special year for the organization because it's 100 years. And I just wanted to discuss this. I had the opportunity to go for the Vyakyan Mala, and I, of course, have my own views. And Ratan Shadaji, you all know him very well, speaks often about the RSS, has been associated with the organization for decades, written numerous books telling us about the Sangh and what it stands for and what its long, torrid history has been like. So, welcome to the show, Ratan Shadaji.
Dataji. So
And
I saw in the crowd shining, like a light,
oh,
that
yes.
crowd, yeah, all decked up. So
No,
before
I
I
was
say
not.
anything,
Go
you're
ahead.
not. Okay. Okay. So that was a natural light coming, right? Yeah.
That was
So in a good
natural glow,
program,
my halo,
yeah, that is how
my halo
glorious your
was.
hello. Yeah, so that's great because you're sitting with good people, so naturally your glow increased. So you have
Yeah, I
been
was
quite
sitting
new
with
to
like bona
RSS.
fide celebrities.
Oh yes,
I
you
was
were
sitting
with
with bona
the
fide
famous.
celebrities,
Yeah, you're Kangana Ranaut next to you, nearly
actors and
next to you, I would say.
directors and all.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So before you ask me anything, I would like to know, since you are comparatively new to RSS, you just meet them often, you are not really part of RSS, and being invited to such a big do, and Sarsang Chalak Mohan Bhagwat is speaking and elaborating on the RSS role. And yesterday was, of course, a very visionary and very wonderful
Yeah.
lecture, and I heard it twice actually. I was so impressed. So being a person who is not really part of RSS, and you are there enjoying that big chance of having interaction with the RSS chief, with the brightest of the minds of Delhi or around Delhi, I would say North India. So what was your impression? How did you feel sitting there listening to him and looking at the, I would say, the environment around you in that auditorium?
Actually, no, this is the second time I've attended the Vyakyan Mala. I also had the opportunity to attend it when it took place for the first time 6 years
The first
ago.
time.
And this was the second time around. And, the thing is, the understanding of the RSS, I think, has increased manifold. Back then, when people were attending, they were not really sure about what the Sangh stood for. This section of society, let me be specific, because this is a particular section of society which is urban, which is connected to different forms of art and things of that nature, but not necessarily in the realm where they would have encountered the RSS through its seva work or anything of that sort. So I was very impressed that this time around, and I think today was the third day, when you heard the questions also, you realized that the questions were very informed. They were coming from a place where their society in general is, especially this section of society, which for so long has been, away from the Sangh, seemed to be getting the Sangh, understanding and asking questions, tough questions, probing questions, but questions that showed a sense of awareness which was not there earlier. And I think that's great that that happened. And for me, that was the most stark difference this time around. Of course, it's over 1,100 people. This is when they've made very, very tight lists. So from the gupshup angle, I can tell you, Ratan Shahda ji, this is Delhi, this is Lutyens Delhi. There was a mad scramble to get passes to this event. People were actually asking each other, like, have you got an invite? So it was quite the big ticket event in town. And I think, although the Sangh is really not about all of that, but
Mhm.
Lutyens Delhi is definitely about all that drama. So I think it was very well attended, to be expected, but it was also very much in demand, which was also something very different that I noticed this time round. Over to you, Rata Chadaji.
See, to me, when I saw the event, to me, the biggest thing was that this was only for North India, it was not for all India. So there were people who were selected to come, and you rightly said. But I also found that question answer session was more like a press conference because more than half questions, if I could remember the names correctly, which were announced, who is asking the question, I could see that a majority of questions were asked by the journalists, and they were very tough. I'm sorry, just a moment. हेलो मैं म्यूट पे हूँ so the level of questions, the probing questions, the very blunt and very strong questions, the way they were asked and the way they were calmly answered, that was very delightful. I could say really delightful because no questions were spared, no issue was spared. And there are, of course, questions were typically questions were asked every time, whether you hear him or not. That bias has not gone. That much I can say. There are still journalists carrying that bias and asking same kind of questions. But still, to the credit of Mohanji, he never said this question is not this question is silly. I already answered it. He answered each and every question to the fullest possible extent. That was one thing that I liked very much. No question was hidden, no question was left unanswered, frankly, very clearly, like his question about same DNA, like his the answers about diversity, about land of Buddha, land of Dharma, etc. Nothing was left to any question. And not only that, if you look at the second day lecture, first day was, of course, giving overview of 100 years of RSS in a very simple way, the way only he can give an answer with lecture where things are put up very simply, very very good articulation. And as you come out of here, realize, okay, you have got a whole history, you have got to know the philosophy, you have got to know with good anecdotes what's happening. On the top of that, the second day, where he spelled out the vision of RSS, not just for Bharat, but for the world. That was very, very, very revealing. It was very impressive. And that there could be a mission beyond what Sangh is doing today. The way he presented it, it's not your, RSS mission, it's Hindu mission, it's nation mission, and RS is just trying to put that nation's mission in the word of Vivekananda when he said that uh, every nation is a mission. Bharat's mission is to give dharma to the world as and when required and support that movement to dharma. So this approach of Mohanji was very impressive. And in fact, as I had said, I heard the lecture twice over to really grasp. I'm still grasping. I got a whole leaf of notes made every day. I sat over it and made leaves of those notes. And that's really very, very impressive. And I really enjoyed the entire series.
And he's of course coming to your city as well eventually. I think it's the
Yeah.
last pit stop.
We're the
When are you
last. Yeah, we're the
expecting
last.
this?
6th,
When are
7th,
you
8th
expecting
February.
this?
6th, 7th,
Oh,
8th
so it's going
February.
to run into so it's going
It's
to
the
run
last
into
one. We
next
are
year.
last in the line. Yeah. So you are the first. We are the last in the queue.
Yeah, we're important, right? That's why we're the
Yeah.
first. But it
I
was
think, yeah.
I saw your book also at the Suruchi Prakashan stall. It was doing well. It was selling. So make sure you get your royalties from Rajiv Tulli. So just keep author code. I have to let you know so that you get your dues.
He tried to, try to give me some yarn about the 75 books of mine being given to diplomats. So he may be saving some royalty over that.
Quite possible. Yours and Praful Ketkar's books I saw. So it's
Yeah.
quite likely that that's what happened. The amazing thing, and I want to ask you about this because 1100 people for one event is no joke, and that too if, people of a certain profile, right? There were people who have been I did send him a
Please
WhatsApp
invite
message,
Rajiv
but
Tuli. He's trying to be
I
on the show. Please call him.
I called him, I asked him, I said, if you're not busy, can you join us? And I never got a response. And now there is this, negativity that
Must
is
have been
being.
must have been freed from the program hall a little early. So now he's trying to be on the show because he must be there all the time. I think all the 3 days he
Yes.
must be manning that stall of Suruchi. So
No,
quite a
no,
tough
he's
day for
not.
actually for
He's
RSS
not. He's the
workers. These
CEO.
days are very, 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 very tight because I know when such events happen, then the kind of work in the background that goes on and on, it's mind blowing, and everybody's so busy till the last moment. So they can never predict, when
Yeah.
they will get
I
free,
said,
and
just
it's 24/7.
Just Rajiv Tuliji, I've sent you the link in case you want to join us. You're more than welcome. We'd love your perspective as well. And Ratan Chadaji, I wanted to get into the planning of this because this was a high profile event, all jokes apart. There were former army chiefs, Air Force chiefs, senior bureaucrats, some serving, some retired, political leaders, movie stars, musicians, athletes, gold medalists from different competitions. I mean, it was a plethora of people who have achieved very high laurels for the country and achieved a lot in their lives. So you have this very high, not to mention our invited dignitaries from the embassies here. So it was a very eclectic mix. To coordinate all of that, to keep it streamlined, was incredible. Like, I had no issue at all to get in, and I wasn't even like one of the important guests. So they must have really I know in the Sangh everyone is treated equally, nobody is like given that kind of stature, but saying that anyway, I mean, it was very smooth being let in, finding a place to sit, exiting, getting your car or your vehicle, being able to get something to eat. All of it was very well organized, and the best thing was that if you go with your driver, and I'm always very touched by this because your drivers just wait for you outside, but my driver was telling me that as soon as he entered the premises, the parking area, they kind of checked his credentials and gave him a box of samosa and some pastry and one other thing and an orange juice, and kind of welcomed him in like that. And he said, it's incredible because, as you know, drivers go to very nice places all the time when they're chauffeuring their people around. And he says, it's very rarely that someone takes care of you so well and thinks about the drivers?
See, the one thing is that it shows that basically it's a people's organization. Sangh is made of people. Sangh is made of people who are taught to treat everybody equally, to respect every person of whatever stature, small or big. So that is the basic sanskar which you saw there. And more than important, of course, without any arrogance, Sangh people a lot of times say they are masters in organizational science. So what you saw today was an example of the masters of organization. You saw for just 1,100 people. I've seen it for thousands of people in a shibir, in a camp, whether it's Pune, whether it's Meerut, whether it's Delhi, to see 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 people enter the place without any rush, without any complication, without any stampede, year after year. No mismanagement, right from food to water to your chair, your chappal arrangement, everything is so precise and exact that you cannot make a mistake. So if you're told to go to that gate will have your name, your list and all, and you'll be guided to that proper tent where your place is. So this is mastery of organization because everything is taken care of right from Shaka's time. So for a simple work in Shaka for one festival, somebody will told to take care of the flowers, somebody will be asked to take care of photos, somebody will be asked to take care of chappals. So everything is given to individuals so they get the sense of responsibility. To me, the bigger thing was that, yeah, when you said that people were seeking passes, there is a time when if somebody is invited, they would make a lot of haughty gestures. No, no, I cannot come. My name will go mud, and please spare me. That was the kind of reaction we used to get. And to reach a
Mhm.
person of certain eminence, it would take so many contexts. Typically, what they call 5 degrees away kind of thing before you reach the person. It's no more that. So acceptability of RSS and the kind of earlier issue where he said, okay, you are trying to reach to somebody and you cannot reach it, that is gone. And when you are treated like pariah, like, political untouchable, or there is political apartheid. So if you were seen with me, you are also stamped. So even you could not
Mhm.
get any appointment, any position in the government, in the press and the
I mean,
media. Those days are
my
getting
work
over.
has been,
Yeah.
my work has
Yes.
been impacted. So
Yes. So
I.
that is still that is reduced now. There are you will find certain people of your thinking everywhere. So you may not still be the part of the so-called mainstream in certain areas like cinema or arts, etc. But slowly there is a parallel thing happening. There is parallel movement happening, and those people are afraid to speak about their mind. They are not ready to speak out. So the change in the thinking, the change in expression of your ideas, beginning from I would say the 2007-8 when people came out against the Saffron terror story. There's typically Ram Janmabhoomi agitation when people started speaking up without fearing of losing their position, without fear the lose of their eminence. They started speaking. Few people slowly that number increased. Now, as 2014, more people came out. Some people came out because they wanted favor. Some people came out because they genuinely felt that they were mistaken earlier on, and the change we can see. I'm not saying all this change is purely RSS driven. Many people get attracted believing that RSS will help them get into BJP. But majority of the people who are coming to RSS are coming with very genuine belief. Today, I just went out to address a group of 25 youngsters who had gone to Rambo Margi Prabodhini for 9 months, a course of democratic leadership. And there was a Rashtriya what is the Rashtravari Congress person. There is a person who had no connect at all, who was typically a secular background person. There are people who came for RSS, people who wanted to join BJP, all young people, 25-year-old. A 9-month course, which I've seen at least happening for last 10 years. So that change is happening over in the society. Hunger for history, hunger for knowledge, that has happened. So those 100 years tapasya, you see the result today. So what you saw
Hmm.
is only a small part of what RS has achieved in all these years.
Oh no, no,
Silently
of
working.
course. There's no doubt about that. I mean, we started this discussion off by discussing how it was different from the Vyakyan Mala of a few years ago, 6 years ago to be precise. Uh, and there's already a change.
That was path breaking. Advaita, that
Yes.
was really path breaking. That was All India program. That was the first time in history of RSS where there's 3 days program for for the leaders of the society, which RSS never had done so far. And that was the real challenge when you wanted to get those people there. Of course, there was,
Mm.
of course, a positive environment then also, but to go out and explain Sangha to that level of people who have least connect with the common people, or least connect with the issues of the nation, except in their own business or profession, in that way, but not
Mm.
worried about social issues or of Hindu society's issues. They came and listened. That path breaking even now happening in 4 places shows the
Mm.
confidence, also shows people's interest in listening to what
Yes,
RSS wants to say.
yes. And Ratan Shadaji, the other thing about the Sarasang Chalak is he speaks extempore. It's incredible. And he spoke for standing for about an hour and a half. And he didn't need to stand for that long, frankly. I was sort of feeling like, why is he standing and speaking? He can just sit and speak. And it was for an hour and a half, and people were just totally tapped in. This ability to speak extempore like this, maybe with a little scrap of paper in his hand. I'm not even sure if he had it in his hand, but to be so
No, he he
well
he had
versed.
dotted, he noted some points. That's all. He had jotted down some
Correct,
points.
correct. Yeah. And then just to sort of, go with the flow and to keep it engaging and interesting. And I mean, think about it, guys. Every media outlet there is waiting to get that sound bite. Everyone. I mean, even anything he says like normal is just turned spun into some kind of big conspiracy. How does he do it?
See, also see the way he has handled the question answers. Very frankly, even the 75-year question was thrown to him, and he answered with full aplomb, with full humor. So that's his style. I've seen him since very long years, and he's always very spontaneous. He's also very open to any question, any new ideas. He will never tell anybody to shut up or tell anybody to what nonsensical things you're talking about. He will listen to them. He will very, in good humor, talk to them, explain to them, and he remembers things. So if you said something in a message to him, when he meets you after 3 months, he will respond to that. So this
Hmm.
readiness to listen, that is the specialty of all the RSS leaders. They listen and they respond, and their response is always very honest, like he did today on every issue that he answered, whether it's inability of Sangha to do something or ability to do something, whether it's doing or not doing, everything was given very clearly. That is how you build trust with the people. This
Hmm.
communication skill, very because he's dealing with people every day. Imagine he's having at least 6 to 7 meetings every day. He meets hundreds of people. He remembers names and he remembers where somebody met earlier on. So when you keep on meeting of various with people of various talents, various inclinations, various types, then naturally you are tuned to the people's thinking. And when you're not built walls around you, we are open to every talk, you can respond that way. And as I said, there is a lot of tapasya in this. When you move all over India every day, you move from one city to another every day, and you still get connected to people, and you still feel tireless. He's diabetic patient. He will sit in front of you or talking on the breakfast table. He'll just put an injection of insulin in his stomach and still keep talking. To take that pain in a very sporting manner is the quality of nearly every senior
And I
leader I've
just
seen.
and I just want to say that his feet were also hurting this time around because I think there was some
Naturally,
issue there,
see,
and
he's
uh,
75
and
years. All jokes
he,
apart,
and he
he's
still
75
stood.
years. Yeah.
He still stood, and I think that shows a certain level of respect for the audience to do that, because even if he had
Today his
sat
question
and
answer to an
addressed it.
yeah.
Yeah, let me just finish, Ratan Chadaji, because even if he had sat and given the address, it would have been fine with the people there because everyone else was sitting.
No, then it becomes pravachan. So there is no pravachan. And imagine today he responded to each and question sharp with very sharp mind for 2.5 hours. He started at 5:30 and we saw it ended at 8. So two
Yeah.
and a half hours of question answer, which requires much more focus, much more
Mm.
energy, much more intense thinking before you answer, because your every word is caught. As you rightly said, every
Yeah.
word, every inflection is caught. As you rightly said, that how I speak, whether AI can speak that way. the stance, the way you the way you and pronounce a particular sentence, the same sentence, how it changes the meaning. Knowing all this, to respond people or 2.5 hours with very aggressive and very I would say negative questions also is a quality that is built in him. And I said, always cheerful, always shining face. I remember in the meetings when he used to sit when he was Shaरीrik Shikshan Pramukh, physical training head, and we had this Shivanga Shibir in Mumbai into year 2000. He was there in the meeting. So when some serious pracharya would very deeply, probe you on certain thing, why should you do this? Why should you do this? Why not like this? Every movement was questioned by some senior pracharaks. ऐसा ही क्यों करना? ऐसा क्यों नहीं करना? ये सही होगा क्या? He would simply sit back in a very smile. He would say, अरे करने दो, हो जाएगा, देख लेंगे. So this approach, very light-hearted, easy, though, of course, light-hearted in the sense that we feel encouraged,
Yeah,
but very
yeah.
light-hearted. Another time I was
And I
sitting,
want
he
to,
was on the stage. Yeah,
no,
please
and I
carry
want
on.
to say that he has a great sense of humor. That's the one thing that
Yeah, yeah.
people probably don't realize about him. And if you have the opportunity to interact with him, which I hope a lot of people do, a lot more people, as rare as they are, those opportunities, he has a great sense of humor. And if I may just say,
Oh,
Ratan
yes.
Shadaji, when I met him this time round, he always asked me, "Are you okay?" So this time also he asked me, "Are you okay?" I don't know why. I think I'm a bit of a trouble spot, but I said yes, I'm fine. And then he said, "I've read this article of yours very recently, this column which I really liked." And I was surprised because nowadays you write columns and people barely read them. And I write in a couple of places. So I said, "Was it this one? Was it this one?" So he says, "No, it was the second place." And I said, "Oh, was it this column on cultural orphans?" And he said, "That's the one." So I immediately pushed my luck and I said, "Was it good?" So he just looks at me and he says, "It was fine, like, instant enough
How
that I read
encouraging
it."
is. Yeah, see how
Yes.
encouraging is. Tell you, we wrote a coffee table book for RSS. I think maybe
Hmm.
5, 6 years back on his suggestion that RSS seniors, when they go to meet somebody, they should have a good book in hand. So coffee table was designed. So when it was to be released, I met him in Nagpur just by this chance. He was going somewhere else. I said, "कैसी लगी?" So he is very easy going. He said, "अच्छी है, गलतियों के अगली बार सुधारेंगे, कोई बात नहीं, अच्छा बना है." So this encouraging response की गलती हो सकती है, पर ठीक कर लेंगे. Not telling me what's the wrong, whether there is something wrong or not. At the same time saying, "Don't worry." I mean, he would encourage. When anything you do, first way is to encourage, saying, "Good job." And then he will, if you want to say something, he will tell you that thing. Otherwise, very happy will say that, "Okay, बढ़िया काम है." When I
and
gave him
and you
another
know
book, he told the secretary कि ये उनका PA, ये पुस्तक हाथ में रखना, मुझे पढ़नी है. So he read the book. After he read the book, that was book where I had talked about evolution of RSS. So when I met him next, I said, "कैसी लगी?" He said, "अच्छा था, अच्छा सरसंघ चालक का, मत छठे सरसंघ चालक चालक के बारे में इतना लिखने की क्या जरूरत थी?" That was himself.
yeah. No, this
So that,
I there was this. I bought the Dr. Hedgewar book, and I told him. I said, "Mohanji, mere liye sign kar dijiye." And he says, "What? Why should I sign it?" I said, "Just." So it was. I was really pushing my luck because that doesn't happen. But I said, why not? Because you know how sarsang chalaks are, Ratan Chadaji, they will not want any books written about them. They will not want any hagiographies, autobiographies, nothing, biographies. They don't like that. They eschew that. And the amazing thing about him is also that he's very human. There's a lot of empathy there, and very understanding of the times that we live in. And I feel like a large part of that comes from the fact that he's also a veterinarian. So I feel this is my bias. I just feel that anyone who serves animals, loves animals, they're just empathetic people. They can not be, because you're dealing with people, with beings who are suffering and who can't speak about their suffering, who can't tell you what. So it takes a certain
yeah.
mindset to do that kind of work.
But see, that's true of every pracharak that you meet, that he will gauge your mood, he will gauge your issues when he goes to certain places. How so many seva programs started? And some pracharak goes somewhere, he's so touched by that particular event, he starts a new organization believing this is what needs to be done. There's tribal area in, Jhabua, or there is this, what you call scheduled tribe people, or people who are Pardhis that they call gypsies. Some pracharak sees a baby lying on the road. Who is that baby? Nobody knows. He picks up, he realizes it belongs to a particular group of people, gypsies and those Pardhis, and he starts to work for them. So this compassion, this empathy is there with every Sangha Karyakarta. Anybody, I would say anybody who works in the society without any selfish motive, without any so-called NGO badge, will have that empathy. Not just RSS, everybody would have. And Pracharak, because they're given their life already. So that sense of empathy with which they, with that sense of emotion which they give up their best possible life, makes them behave that way. So some people show very easily, some people don't show. There's a pracharak in South whom he quoted yesterday also, uh, who would be very aggressive when he talked. His lecture would be very aggressive, but he was also compassionate. So, but Sudarshan was very strict, but he was very compassionate also. But there are people like Mohanji where you meet him and you don't really feel awed by what is, who is, and speak very clearly, very openly. That quality of the leadership where you don't fear the person, and you very happily talk to him, knowing that he will not be fired, he will not be looked up down upon. कि कैसी बात कर रहा है. So that sense of being as one of us, whom we could talk to, you respect him a lot. That's the quality that Mohanji has, and of course he showed it there. And when he talked to women, when he talked about scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, many stories he told that you saw, the kind of stories how poor people work for poor without worrying about herself. So everywhere they go, the pracharas go, they find that empathy and they highlight it. They bring it back to their own personality. They talk about that. So one thing is that when they see a good work, you talk about it, whether it's RSS work or anybody's work. That you will see most of the pracharaks telling you stories what they saw on the field, whether it's Manmohan, whether Dattaji. So this way of being very, very, I would say, have the pulse of the people, ear on the ground is what you see. Another example, I'll give you Morupan Pingle, very, very humorous, with about whom he talked today also. So what he did was, ye kaun hai bhai?
Well, Babar Ali is very upset.
Okay, okay, it's
I
okay.
think he's
So,
trying to pull your leg. Yeah. So that's why I placed. That's why I
so,
put.
so Morupan Pingle, I am told he said it. I was too young to know at that time. He said when RSS started, four Hindus would look in one direction only, when fifth one was in his shoulder. Now to say this and work with the people at the same time. And I remember when this Ekatma Yatra happened, that Ganga Jal and Bharat Mata ki Murti, his brainchild, just like Ram Mandir movement was his brainchild, the way it was to be conducted. So he told us this program will be successful whether you are part of it or you say this is too embarrassing, I will not be there. It is your choice, but this program will be super hit. It will be great success, and we would try to find a smaller ground where it will not be seen empty. But they were flowing. And ultimately, when I went from Villepara to Borivali, the entire path was lit up with thousands of people and thousands of lights. So he could see that from his own experience around Bharat. We could not see. And there was success, very successful, 8 to 10 crore people connected with the program. So this ear to the ground or pulse of the people is what Pracharak learns continuously meeting people. Because they meet every kind of people, they meet every kind of person. That's the strength.
And there's sometimes you go into Suruchi Prakashan to buy a book or something, you'll see pracharaks there buying books, and they will have little coupons, Ratna Chadaji, and one time around, because I know pracharaks don't have any money, so one time around they were one pracharak was buying a book, and then he kind of put it aside or something. So I told the shop seller, I said, I will purchase it and gift it to him. I didn't know who he was. He was a young pracharak. So the shop seller said, no, don't worry. They get coupons for buying books. And so he's left his coupon in his room. So he'll bring it and then he'll buy his book. So this is the tight kind of, financial resources that they have. And another occasion, I was going somewhere and I had to meet another very young pracharak, the first year pracharak, and he was supposed to connect with me. It was in Ramtek, actually, Guruji's birthplace, hometown. So I was to meet him there, and he didn't have a cell phone. So
Yeah.
yeah,
First year is not
so
allowed.
yes, they don't have cell phones. So I was like, this is a new town. How am I going to find you? How am I going to connect with you? So we had to actually go back to 90s, and the way it was done in the 90s, that I'll be outside this shop at this time and you
Yeah.
can meet me there and just ask. This is a well-known shop. They'll tell you where it is. And I guess we'll recognize each other. We'll figure it out. It's easy to recognize a pracharak because he'll be wearing his kurta pajama, maybe carrying a jhola or something. So that's how we connected, and I was amazed. I said, in this time and age, you know,
There is a
but it's
reason. There
it's
is a reason
respectful.
that the young
Hmm.
pracharak is supposed to meet people personally. He's not supposed to talk on phone or pass messages. So train the pracharak for meeting people and going out to meet the people at any effort. That is the lesson why the first level pracharak or the first year pracharak does not get a cell. I was quite upset when my young pracharak came and saying mera cell nahi hai and I have to meet people in the IIT. So how do I meet himself as an IIT person? Ex IIT person. I was very upset. I complained, यार इसको तो दे दो नहीं तो कैसे मिलेगा? नहीं नहीं ये rule है. So this rule is to make you go out and meet people because everybody is not extrovert. Everybody is not ready to go out and meet people. So to make that habit of going out and meeting people, initially the cell phone is avoided at the first level.
So I'll give you some gossip also. I found this very funny because this is Lutyens Delhi, right? Pratashadaji, you fly in and out of here. You know what I'm talking about. So
Hmm.
everybody there is like really preening, and I remember one well-known person was around me at one point, and we were trying to find our seats, and that person was like horrified that he had to sit in the back.
Sanjay is a
And he's
great
trying
equalizer.
yeah, trying to say, oh, but I should be further up. I mean, why am I in the back? And I was like, okay. And here you have I said, okay, they'll figure it out. Like, this doesn't matter. This really doesn't matter where you're sitting. What you're doing, it's really irrelevant. It makes no
True,
difference, apart to
true.
for maybe you feel a little good if you're built that way, but other than that, it really doesn't matter. So it's funny because the man of the hour, who is the RSS chief, is so down to earth and so basic, like what kids today will call basic. He's so basic. And some of the attendees were still in their kind of peacock mode. So I just found that really funny. But Ratnachadaji, do you think the RSS is too idealistic? Like, even today, the Sarsang Chalak was saying, we're open to everyone. If they don't accept us, it's fine. We're still open to them. They can come when they want. And those of us who are cynical now, because we are also political observers, see so many people getting into the system, so to speak, who are very clearly not committed in the way that they should be, or is expected of them, but are doing it because it's a great opportunity.
So at the same time, I have seen people who are genuinely turned around. Because I saw them turn before the dominance of BJP, especially as since the time of Ram Mandir, how people slowly turned around saying that something is not correct, something needs to change. Plus, there are people who change later on, but as they were there, they also realized that, not all of them turned opportunistic, not all of them were political. I've seen people genuinely working. You yourself fell into the trap of RSS. You didn't expect any return, you didn't expect any
No, no,
profit.
I
So there
wait,
are
wait, no, Ratashada, let me correct you here. I expected a return. I never got it.
that is a bitter lesson.
That's a bitterness. So let's not make me out to be. I'm still expecting. Hope is
मिलेगा तो क्या
alive.
मिलेगा नाम मिल जाएगा और तो कुछ मिलेगा नहीं.
Hope is
So
alive.
see,
Now
we
we
the
don't.
RSS are trained to be at the back. So when somebody calls in the front and gives
Guys,
all kind of
one second.
bhashan, we feel embarrassed because that's not the way we are brought up.
yeah, guys, I'm joking, okay, because we're getting new viewers also, and they may think our old viewers know this is a joke. But when the satsang chalak says that when you connect with the RSS, you only lose things. This,
True.
my friends, is very, very true. And if we ever meet for a coffee one on one, I will tell you, give you a whole list. And you don't realize it because, like Ratan Chadha ji shared in the beginning,
But
you come in
still,
from the outside.
still, Advaita, you still got something in life which you never would have expected, right?
Purpose.
Connect to the society,
Purpose.
yes. Yeah.
Purpose. I
You
think
have met
that is
such
so
wonderful
important.
people who would never, you won't imagine such people exist, right? When
Yes.
you went to Kerala,
And
you didn't know such people existed.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, purpose. I think it's as simple as that. Where I was very successful with my first book, it published abroad. All of that happened. I wrote films. My second film, only my second film. People write for years and decades. My second film was a film like Kahani, which won every possible award and was a commercial hit. So I was doing very well in my writing, but I was feeling very kind of rudderless, like, because writing is a lonely profession. You do it on your own. You don't really interact with people, and you get all this success so early, it almost becomes paralyzing, because then you're like, oh my god, what do I do next? I write a book, it's a huge bestseller. I write this film, it's only my second film, but it's very big. It's counted amongst one of the greatest films ever produced in Hindi cinema. So these kind of things on the outside look great, but they can actually paralyze you on the inside, and also make you question what you're supposed to be doing, and whether this is enough, and whether this is enough of a high, right? And I think my interactions with RSS, based on seeing how people had chosen, consciously chosen to live their lives, the pracharaks in particular, was very, very powerful and very moving. And I realized that there is more to life than, fame and being relevant and being seen and making tons of money and all of that. I mean, of course, you need to make money. You have to have a livelihood. I'm a freelancer. I'm constantly, at the end of the month trying to figure out how it's going to be for that month or the next month. So I get that part. But to do just that little more, I also understand that I am also way ahead of a lot of other people. I may not be quite where I want to be, but I'm also way ahead. And that's
See that,
really what grounds you.
and see that is what is going to enrich your writing also ultimately when you meet real people, people who don't exist in people's mind frame. Such people exist. I know of at least
Yeah.
half a dozen people in West, especially USA, who are doing very successful as professionals, engineers, IT engineers, or already earning, and actually became Swayam Shaks in USA itself of HSS. They gave up their career, they became pracharaks. I know at
Yeah.
least half a dozen of them. So giving that lucrative career up for 10 years, 20 years, or 5 years, and then restart again all over, or come back to Bharat and start is something that you can't even imagine. You really can't imagine.
Oh, yeah. So even for me, honestly, I could have been making a lot of money being living in Bombay, making writing a lot of films and doing all of that. But I don't think it would have been as fulfilling as some of the things I've had the opportunity to engage with. Of course, I'm not a full time worker or anything of that sort. I'm very much a part of society, social life, all of that. But some of the opportunities and the people I've met, like you rightly pointed out, I would have never met in my life ever. And the way that they've enriched my life has been absolutely incredible. I mean, to see Sadanand Master's journey from
True.
fighting that election in 2016 to now being in the Rajya Sabha is wonderfully gratifying and empowering, that this could happen.
True. And
So yeah,
Nandakumar ji tells a story, yeah, that he went to a Guru Dakshina Utsav in Kerala, and he found a lady standing in the program, and she gave an envelope of Guru Dakshina to that to Bhagwat Vaj. And he later asked Amma, I met you. She said, yes, you came to my home 6 months back, and my son was killed by the Marxists, and you came to my home. This was the Guru Dakshina he had kept for his shakha. So I came to give that Guru Dakshina. So that sense of belonging or the family belonging, which Mohanji again talked about, which every pracharak talks about, to imagine somebody's mother who lost his life because he was an RSS Swayamsevak, coming to Shakha and giving the Guru Dakshina that he had collected for himself. That is the kind of
It's
life. That is the kind of people you meet. And so,
yeah.
so many people turn around after meeting, meeting me or meeting many other pracharaks who generally turn around, give up their earlier career, start working for RSS or start working for some organization of RSS, and just because they felt they found the right people and they start doing that. So it's not
Yeah,
to
and I
do
think
with me or anybody. It's just the Pracharak's aura, Sangh works aura. When you see that people can work selflessly, they can work without any self-interest, they can without motive of profit. When they see such people, their faith in humanity is restored. I would not say that's why that RS is very idealistic. It is idealistic because it genuinely believes that people will change for the good. So from 12 people in a single shaka in Nagpur, when you become a 10 million strong RSS cadre, forget about the other organizations like BJP,
Mhm.
Vishnu Parishad. That is the change you bring over a period of time. To take along people who never have one voice, three Hindus means four opinions, to bring them together and slowly over build that particular rapport with them, build that faith in them. That is idealism, and that idealism worked. So you have to believe
Yeah.
idealism is good for the society.
I
As
mean,
long
you're
as
talking.
idealism is for something positive, not to destroy somebody, then idealism is good.
Absolutely, you're talking to a writer. I'm all about idealism, as an instinct that happens with me. But to actually see it in practice is a whole other thing, because and this is amazing. I want to share this also with the readers. In my life, I've been very nomadic. A lot of times, you have a lot of fun with it. That I belong to every place that I go to, and where do I actually come from. But my life has been very nomadic. I've studied abroad. I've lived abroad. I've lived in different parts of India. So I've never, what happens in that situation is that you don't really throw down roots in a way that somebody who's had a more steady life would necessarily do. I've, till about 12 years ago, I was very nomadic. It's only in the last dozen years or so, which happens to also coincide with me getting more engaged and interacting more with the RSS, have I actually anchored. And the amazing thing is that sometimes when I travel for little outreaches and things like that, you can go to the most remote part of the country as a woman alone. And I've done it. I've gone to a Kannur, for example, as a woman alone. And immediately, the moment you step off the train, I travel by train only, guys, mostly. Sometimes I fly, but mostly trains. But when you get off the train, on the platform, there will be a family to meet you. It'll be a Sangh family, and they'll take you in, and it's like your home. It's
True.
an incredible feeling. It's an
Anywhere.
incredible feeling of belonging.
So when I shifted to Delhi, I didn't have to think twice because I knew there'll be some RSS Shaka somewhere. I'll meet those people there. So you meet people everywhere. Somebody out there is there to help you, out there to come with you, out there to support. I went to Jalandhar. I was trying to find somebody who had worked during Khalistan 1.0 times. And that Swayamsak knew me through Sangha Shaka. And I said, yeah, mujhe kisi ko milwa do. When I went there, he took me to three very senior RSS people, and one was a pracharak for some time, one was grihasthi all the time. So he was in Una. He had lost his movement below his waist because of some accident, and he was the leader of anti-Khalistani agitation by the Sangha people that we cannot be divided, we are one, etc. And he was equally bold, he was equally happy. He had cuttings with him. So after talking to him for 3 4 hours, he said, मैं खुश हूं कि संघ ने जो काम किया खालिस्तानियों के विरुद्ध कम से कम आज रिकॉर्ड पे आ जाएगा. That's all he said. Jai Krishan ji. So this is that sense of, people everywhere who have worked. And then you feel, what am I, yaar? I mean, what kind of arrogance can I have? When you see such people directly facing the fire and who tells Bhindra wala himmat hai to samne aa jao. That kind of
Yeah,
language. He
yeah.
and he said no security. He said refuse any security. When you such people, I met a young man who is middle class person. He got a new flat after renewal of the rebuilding of the building. Say 7 crore, must be 7 crore flat. He lived in the old house. I said वहां नहीं गए नहीं. He said my father before dying said कि है ना संघ में महिलाएं आती हैं, उनको रहने को जगह नहीं मिलती, उनको रहने के लिए जब आएंगी शाखा की बैठक के लिए उनको दे दो. तो मैंने दे दिया, just like that. I didn't tell anybody. Just because I went to the wrong address, I said, Girish, wahan kyun nahi said this story to me? There are so
Mhm.
many people doing so many things that you meet people and you realize, yeah, ठीक है, बहुत अच्छे लोग हैं दुनिया में.
It's
So that
very
optimism you
effortless.
get, yeah. So that
Very,
sense of
very
optimism,
effortless.
you get optimism when you meet such people.
Oh yes, of course you do, and that's a really powerful thing as well. And a lot of people like look at it and they say, "Oh, it's very judgmental, it's very regressive, and being a woman, it's so strange, and this and that." I mean, please, I faced more judgment entering a nightclub than I have going anywhere, which is an RSS thing. Yeah, I mean, they'll judge you more at a nightclub for what you're wearing, how much you weigh, what you're looking at, who you're hanging out with, than you ever experienced with the sung. So these are the kind of sort of silly things that people say. But I just want to say, as we wrap this up, and this is from lived experience, is that if you're really looking for something a little more than the rat race or the everyday hustle of life and the disappointments and being let down by certain situations in life, we all go through that phase. If you interact with the sangh, and Ratan Shadaji's put it very simply, and it's very true, is that sense of optimism that you absorb, that can do attitude, can happen, can do. And also the other thing, that why can't you do it yourself? you know these are a few things that come your way. And for me, the most powerful and transformative thing of my association has been the fact that I was able to do something with my writing, which wasn't about number of copies sold or geographies it was published in,
Hmm.
or money it made for some producer. No, that was not what my writing was about. My writing, and I'll say it with all humility, I think actually helped save a few lives. And for a writer, nothing can be more powerful. So for me, despite all the missed opportunities, it has been the most gratifying learning from this whole experience.
See, that's why I said what I saw today when I say people coming ready to attend RSS program and going out of है कि मुझे पास दे दो. Somebody just sent me a message one day back कि मैं गुड़गांव में रहता, पास दिला दो. There was a time when I met people senior to me, whom I met, they're 80-year-olds. They had seen the worst of time of RSS. Gandhi assassination, Satyagraha, being their homes being burned, their jobs gone, their businesses gone. They kept on working. They're always optimistic, always shiny, always smiling. They had no regret at all. And they lost so many opportunities, but no regret at all. Very happy. होगा कभी तो होगा. When it actually happened, I saw many old swimsuits actually tears in the eyes of happiness. There is a dialogue in Sangi, Achi Dehi Asi Doda, with the same eyes, same body, I will see Hindu Rashtra rising or a rise of RSS. When he sees that, he said, we never believed it will happen. They never believed it will happen. They had faith it will happen. And for that, they kept on working all through their life. That is what inspires, people like us who have gone to this next stage or next generation who have seen both the sides, the ridicule as well as the
Mm,
success.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I saw, of course, the last end of the ridicule. I mean, there's, of course, still a lot of
Yeah.
aggressive countering and all of that, but that ridicule. And I remember speaking to a senior pracharak, and I said, you know, uh, this thing about meeting people, because for the first time in my life, I was experiencing a situation where people were not that comfortable with me anymore. And I'm somebody who comes from a hospitality background. I've interacted with all kinds of people. But suddenly, like, this kind of little connect I had with the RSS was making people uncomfortable around me. And so I went to him and I said, this is very strange. Suddenly, I'm feeling this distance and this judgment, just because, like, at a party, I remember one intellectual yelled me down, and I was like, that's just bad manners. Sarsan Chalak spoke about good manners today, and I was like, this is just bad manners. No matter how much of a great intellectual or activist or whatever you are, if you don't have good manners, then you're rubbish. So anyway, so I went to him and I said that, and he says, why do you worry? They should worry. If they get in connection with you, they'll get tainted, but you won't get tainted. So you should just live your life. And I said, that's true. Just be you, just do you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It's for them to worry about all these things and worry about being this and that. You just do you. That, to put it in Gen Z language, that's what essentially the RSS tells you. Is like, you do you, but make sure you also do for the country. That's it
true,
in a
true.
nutshell. But it's been a lovely chat, and we've had a really steady viewership. So I know people enjoyed this. Otherwise, we
It is
usually
fun.
lose viewers by this time. Yeah. They're like, these are too long. They're going on and on. But thank you, everybody, for watching. And I hope you do get
Thank
a
you.
chance to check out the series of lectures. Uh, they're very interesting. He has a very conversational style. He's not didactic. He's not boring. He's not preachy. So please do give it a shot. Listen to it. Try and understand the song. I'm quite certain it'll enrich your life. And you won't regret it, actually. And yes, that's all I have to say.
True.
So thank you, everybody, for watching. And thank you, Ratan Shahda
Thanks,
ji.
Advaita. It was
You're in
fun
great
having this
demand
chat.
today on TV. So I appreciate you coming on my little YouTube channel. But
He was a
we'll
celebrity
get
channel
there. We'll get there.
by the discerning crowds.
Yeah, yeah. Considering where I was seated, right?
Right.
which
Okay, bye.
probably an upgrade
Bye.
for maybe an upgrade for me, but a downgrade for other people. But that's okay. See you later.
Bye then. Good night.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye. Good night. Bye bye.